In this episode, we dig into the rear calipers for the new 8.8 going under Project Low Fairmont to see if they're worth rebuilding. Welcome to the channel. My name is Grant Tommy. This is Straight Six Fan, where I like to focus on budget-minded, relatable, creative builds. Well, something I like to call offbeat hot rodding. And today we are digging into a rear caliper from the old Lincoln Mark VII rear end that's going under Project Low Fairmont to rebuild. It's not necessarily because I know it needs to be rebuilt. It's just knowing where this came from. You know, it kind of sat at a junkyard supplier. Just it wasn't actively used much. I just figure let's take a look into them, see if they need to be rebuilt. If they don't, I already have the seals rebuild kit. Sometimes I've heard people say by the time you buy a piston and the seals kit, you just as well just bought a rebuilt one. But when I did the pricing exercise for that, I'm still saving about $21 a caliper, and so being on a budget, this is great. I also had a gift card, a birthday gift card, $30 gift card, where I bought most of the stuff, so I haven't actually pinged the project budget just yet, so that's another reason why I'm doing it. But let's get to digging into one of these. So as you can tell, I have my welding table set up, and if you don't know if you're interested in this welding table or how I made it, I will leave an info card up over here. But anyway, the first objective to rebuilding a caliper is getting the piston out, which has some surface rust on this side, which just makes me believe it's probably seized up in here. Anyway, which is why I want to rebuild these. So the first step is to get the piston out, and the best way to do that is by just running compressed air through the brake line fitting. So we will look to do that, but before you just go ahead and run compressed air through this unit, through the caliper itself, you want some sort of a backstop for the piston itself. And so to do that, I have this chunk of plate steel. So, truth be told, I did not buy a new piston for these because I wanted, first off, the best price to make it worth it for me is to buy the pistons from rockauto.com, whereas everything else to date, like my seals rebuild kits, I got from O'Reilly's. And so with shipping and such, wanted to make sure that I knew if I was getting one, needed to get one or get two. You know, I think it's pretty safe to just go ahead and replace two. But honestly, this one doesn't have hardly any rust or pitting. There's a little bit of pitting here. But it looks like that can clean up, because it kind of looks like dirt. I'll be hitting it with the wire brush. Oh, that's actually pitting. But what I wanted to avoid was if I ordered two and really only needed one, having to send one back. I guess at that rate I would just go ahead and replace the piston. But anyway, just kind of inspecting it. This doesn't look too bad. I'm going to clean it up anyway just to see what it ends up looking like. Maybe it's worth keeping this, but the seals kit, of course, I will have a whole new dust boot, and we'll get into that. We'll start digging into basically what comes in a kit here. But the objective here, and again, I'll be honest, having traveled all this week for a work conference, I got a late start today, so I'm not really pushing myself to do much anything other than disassemble these calipers. So anyway, just wanted to see if they were worth it, worth rebuilding, and it does appear, at least early returns, this one does. So after cleaning it up, this is all we're left with for pitting. It's this amount. So I'm kind of on the fence. I feel like for what I'm doing, for flipping a car, for it being a budget build, this is not enough for me to worry about. So I'm tempted to throw it back in. I kind of feel like it's right on that fence, if you will, as to whether it's too much or still acceptable. You could probably go either way. Of course, you'll always be better off replacing the piston, but that just seems like so little. But anyway, leave a comment below, what will you guys do? So with the piston being what it is, the next step is to remove this outer dust seal. I'm just using a little screwdriver here, getting it in the gap and twisting to help pry. Now the majority of the business is then this next seal on the inside. It's a square cut seal. Let's see if I can do this upside down. Oof. There we go. You can kind of see it. It's that next notch in. So that's what we're going to remove next. From here, we're just going to clean out the inside real quick with a little brake clean. I've got the inside pretty well cleaned out. I will probably spray it one more time with brake clean and wipe it down. But what you really want to make sure is where that square seal recesses is clean that out really good, because of course you want that to seat nice and square in there. So that's the most critical part really of all the cleaning, is getting, I don't know if you guys can see that too well, but right up in there, and cleaning that out. So the only problem is, I do want to put this all back together. However, looking at my seal kit, there is another seal in here that I have no idea where it goes. So I need to do some more research, and you know, I could definitely put the square seal and then the dust seal back on it. But if this somehow goes in somewhere deep down in here, I'd like to figure that out before I, you know, put something in that I'm just going to take right back out. So anyway, that might be where this episode ends. So I certainly am not going to title it a how-to, but at least you probably get a little bit of a sense of what goes on inside a brake caliper, and how it really is just a few simple parts. So again, I'm saving about $21 a piece in lieu of buying a rebuilt caliper by doing it myself. So anyway, let's point the camera back on me and we'll close this out. My ambition probably quite isn't there where it needs to be. Like I said, I've just been worn out from the travel from work, so I didn't get out here like I normally do at 1. It was more like 3:30. So I guess we'll call it a day here. This doesn't look all too hard to get put back together. Hopefully next Sunday when I fire it up, I will have these rebuilt. Try to get this done over the week. If you want a straight 6-fan pistons tee, link to my Spreadshirt store below. Also check out my 30/60s 198 tee. That is paying homage to the Slant 6. Reminder about the Car Guy and 6-Fan show. That is a live stream collaboration with me and Old Car Auto Guy. I'll leave an info card up there to his channel. We do switch off every other week as to who hosts the live stream. That is Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time or 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's just a great way to connect with our Car Guy community, talk cars, talk YouTube growth hacks, struggles, things like that. Anyway, just a good place to get to know more motoring channels. So go check that out. It is on my channel this week. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I don't really care which one you do, as long as you do one. That'll do it for this episode. And until next time, peace out.